Well, good morning everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and as you can hear, my voice is still not quite back yet. But feeling a lot better than I was yesterday, and a whole lot better than I was the day before that. It is 1 degree here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 34 degrees. Bad guess. 34 degrees in American. And I wanted to continue our discussion on anxiety. We talk about this subject all the time. Just so you know, for those of you who are new viewers, it's one of the subjects that comes up time and time and time again. And every time I try and just give you a brief understanding, and in the hope that, you know, along the way the bits will fall into place. So if I make it sound easy, I don't mean to. I know it's not. I've suffered from anxiety, and by the way, I ended up in hospital well, in the last couple of years. I ended up in hospital with what everybody thought was a heart attack, and turned out to be a very severe anxiety attack. And that was somewhat surprising to me, because I had no idea I was having any sort of anxiety. And when they asked me about it, I said, no, I'm not stressed about anything that I know of. But apparently I was. And so that's why I want you to know that anxiety is a very deep-seated thing. And normally, if you're suffering from it, it's a really good idea to get some help with it. Because the chances are you've probably suffered more than enough with it. If you can talk about it. I had a viewer write to me this morning about the fact that she'd been bullied, and her anxiety was pretty bad, enough that she didn't want to go outside anymore. And I know there are quite a few of you that relate to that. One of my regular peeps, I guess had been a DearMamaSal peep for about a year before she decided that was enough. She got it. And when I say she got it, she'd listened to enough vlogs, she'd listened to me talk about it enough, and then said, you know, I deserve some help with this. And has joined a group of working on anxiety issues, so that she's not alone. She didn't like the first group she joined. You know, the guy was a little bit on putting guilt trips on people, so she didn't like that. But she found herself another one, which she's really getting some help from. And by the way, that's part of what you need to know, that the talking about anxiety is always difficult, because it means we're not perfect, right? We've succumbed to something that somebody said about us or done to us. So it's not an easy thing to talk about, but you do not need to be shamed in that process. And so 10 out of 10 to the broadcast person who knows who she is, who went out and got herself some good help. Now, what I wanted to say is that if your anxiety has got strong enough that you're scared to go outside, and this person who wrote to me this morning had got to that stage where she began to fear now going outside even. She'd been bullied so much. I'm not sure how old she is or where she lives, because those things actually make a difference. If I don't know how old you are, the way in which I might answer you is very different. If I don't know which culture you're dealing with this in? You know, are you dealing this in the North American culture? In Canada, in other words, the healthcare is very different from the States. And so if you can give me those little bits of information, it makes it much easier for me to be able to recommend what you might be able to do. But the bottom line is this: if you are suffering from anxiety, the number one thing you should be doing is telling your doctor. And you should be working with your doctor on this. And your doctor should be helping you get some help. If you think it's going to go away on its own, if you think, if I'll just, struggle through it and it'll go away, I'd like to suggest you might be right, but the time it takes could be a long time. And one of the things that I know from my own experience of anxiety is talking about it definitely shortens the pain. So it's up to you. Would you like to prolong the pain, or would you like to shorten it? If you'd like to shorten it, stomp your foot. Say, that's enough. I need help. And get some. It's called being proactive. Now, the opposite of that is, no, I'm going to stay in this because I'm not strong enough to get any help. I'd like to suggest you're not angry enough to get any help. Well, actually, you are inside, because I'm a great believer that things like depression and anxiety and so forth are all about some level of anger. I really know that I'm doing a number on myself when I start to resent things or people, or it's not fair and why do they have it so easy, I don't do that much, but when I do, just the first twinge I get of it, I go, uh-oh. So what I know is, actually I'm not crying in case you think I am. I think I've got some mascara or something in my eye. Anyway, so I know immediately that I start thinking like that I'm somewhere subconsciously, I'm angry about something. And so then, because I know this now, and I know it so deeply, that I now will get hold of a friend of mine if I can, and I will talk it through. Say, okay, fine, I need to vent. I didn't know I did, but I need to vent. I need to get angry. And the thing is to find somebody where it's not going to try and fix you. And if you let them know that, in other words, Yvonne in my life is very well trained. I need to get angry, and I don't need you to fix me. I just need you to let me get angry for a moment. And it's healthy to get angry. And by the way, when you get angry, you can use all the words you're not meant to use. Because being a good little girl isn't what being angry is about. Being angry is to get rid of that emotion, that negative emotion that's storing up inside you and making you sick. And so, for example, you heard me say yesterday about the fact that between the weekend and being sick for 2 days, my house has had a week's worth of untidiness above what it was not already perfect to start with, if you know what I mean. That doesn't sound like very good English at all. It didn't start off tidy, and then I put a week's worth of being mindless about my home on top of it. So, it really was looking disgusting. And so what I did is I could sit there and beat up on myself because I was angry at myself for letting that happen. And then, funny enough, Yvonne came up, and Yvonne was busy saying to me, but Sal, what do you expect? You were busy all weekend, and then you've been really sick for 2 days. And I went, Yvonne, I don't want to hear that right now. I don't want to hear any excuses as to why it's okay for my house to look like this. Because it's making me angry that it looks like this. So therefore, if you want to help me turn my mattress so I can remake my bed, and then don't tell me it's okay that it looks like this. It is not okay. Now that's being proactive. Now I could be very gentle with myself, and I understand that. But you know, enough of being gentle with myself. It's time for me to grow up and tidy up my room. And tidy up my other rooms. I've still got Christmas boxes, for goodness sake, upstairs. Really? It's the end of January. I know some of you are rolling your eyes and going, well, I always get mine done by the first week. I don't care when you get yours done. I still have Christmas boxes upstairs. I managed to get half of them downstairs last night. I managed to get most of my kitchen tidied up last night. A couple of work spaces still need to be done tonight, but I managed to get most of it tidied. I managed to get the floor looking a lot better, not good, but a lot better. So why am I talking about this? Because that's how you get out of anxiety issues. That's how you get out of depression, by doing things. I keep saying to people, and I say it time and time again, you do not get out of depression or anxiety issues by sitting and thinking about them. So that's just from my experience. And believe you me, I have been in pretty good depression in my lifetime. But I haven't been for about 10 years. Maybe more. Why? I learned the trick. I learned to grow up and take control of my mood. And when I say grow up and take control, it's like you do actually have to take responsibility for your mood. Yes, I understand that people have picked on you, or I understand that somebody has dumped you, or people have bullied you, or you know, or you know, you've had a really difficult time. I understand that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go through the cycle of loss. And for those of you who don't know what that is, you know, leave me a note and I'll send you the hook up to the video that I did about that. You know, if you've had, if you're grieving something, that's a very different thing. But if you are grieving it, and you've been grieving it for a couple of years now, and you're not getting through it, that's another thing. So, it's not that I'm not sympathetic, but I always say to my friends, if you want sympathy, don't come to me. But if you want help, I'll do everything I can to help you. And when I say everything I can, I will do everything I can to give you the choices if you want to make them. Now, if we talk about that, it is all about choice. You know, you hear me say that time and time and time again. I could be a size 10 again in a year if I really chose to. I'm not sure about that reality, but anyway, I would need to stop stuffing myself full of sugar, get regular exercise, and eat really healthy, smaller meals. And if I did that for a year, probably if I juiced a lot more, I mean, all the things I know are the right things to do. If I did all of those, I'd be thinner. And I could probably get back to a size 10. Might take me 2 years, but I could do it. Right? All I have to do is the right things. I've been so busy finishing off the Christmas candy and chocolates, you know, the chocolates, the cookies, the whatever. I've put back on all the weight that I lost in the last 3 months. So am I good and angry with myself? Yep. Can I call myself lots of fat names? Yep. Is it going to make the weight go? Nope. Could I say, well, I don't want to go and be seen at this weight? Or I can wear the weight well. And some of you know what I mean about that. I can wear the weight well. Guess what's on the bus ahead of me? I've already lost this much weight without hunger. It's some diet thing that I know a lot of people have done. And the interesting thing is, as soon as they come off this diet plan, guess what? They put it back on again. All right, so for those of you suffering from anxiety, are you going to continue to suffer? Remember, pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. So are you going to carry on suffering, or are you going to start walking into your doctor, or have somebody take you to a doctor and say, this is what's happening to me, I need help? And the reason you need help is if you're not able to do anything about it yourself. If you can say to yourself, okay, fine, I'm going to go out and start getting exercise. I'm going to go out with my friends. I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to get, the few friends I've got left to go and meet them for a coffee, or go and do something out of the house, force myself out of the house. I've always said the most difficult part of exercise or socializing again is getting outside the front door. Once you're outside the front door, you're fine. It's the number that your brain can do on you between where you are and your front door. That's the difficult part. So I challenge you, those of you who are suffering from anxiety, whichever state you're in, are you in a state where you can go, okay, that's enough, I'm going to do something about it? By the way, make a commitment to yourself that you're going to phone one friend a day, and not to moan and groan, but to find out how they're doing. And by the way, if you find yourself back talking about you again, apologize and say, gosh, I'm sorry. I really didn't phone to talk about me. I phoned to find out how you were doing. I actually have it on my daily list of things I do. Friend, ? Which means, did I drop a quick email to a friend? Did I send a text? Did I do something to a friend, for a friend today? At least one. Why? That's how you keep friends. I'm a really bad communicator with my friends. And so I'm trying to change that. Actually, I'm not trying. I am changing that. So remember the two sides that you have choices on. I can choose to be in anxiety and get help, or I can choose to be in anxiety and help myself. If I am not strong enough to help myself, then I need to get help professionally. So I would suggest that you set yourself very small goals. And if you can't keep the commitments to yourself, small as they are, then you probably need some help, either from a friend, and if that doesn't help, then get professional help. One of the things about going and doing group therapy or something like that is it gets you out of the house. And it gets you meeting new people. The interesting thing is that those new people are all suffering as well, so you don't feel like the only bozo on the block, if you know what I mean. So my question is, what do you choose to do for yourself today? Do you choose to go and make an appointment to get help, or do you choose to go out either for coffee or for a quick walk, something. And it has been my experience that however small the achievements, if I want to get out of a funk, and you all know this, those of you that are regular listeners, if I want to get out of a funk, then I know my way out is to have small achievements. Whether it's tidy up a room, whether it is get outside for 10 minutes, literally for 10 minutes, will make me feel a lot better. So, have fun today if you can. By the way, being creative is a great thing to do. Because it uses your right brain, not your left. And your right brain, what happens to us most of the time when we're in anxiety or depression is we're processing too much. We're thinking too much about everything. We're putting too much weight on what it is. Now, just so that you guys know, because I can hear you almost screaming at me, but you don't understand, Sal. I've been bullied. Well, I got news for you. I've been bullied too in my life, and I've been bullied a lot, even as an adult. And that's okay. What I need to do is control how I react to being bullied. I can either live my life in fear, or I can do something about it. So I want to send you all a big hug. It's not easy stuff, and I know it isn't because I've been there and done that. And I know it isn't because I protect myself from it on an almost daily basis. It's a choice I make. All right, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day. Not an easy subject, but one that we do need to keep revisiting. This is DearMamaSal saying, look after yourself if you can. You're the most precious thing I know, other than myself. Bye-bye for now.